The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, callers, and advisors on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of the management, ownership, or production unit of ILS, the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be represented in part or entirety without the express written consent of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2026. All rights reserved.
Coming up tonight, South Androsians say they need more banking days. A protest is planned for tomorrow in South Andros. We speak to a few residents tonight. We now know the complete duties of the 29-member cabinet. We take a look at some of them. Also tonight, one union president is weighing in on the fired airport security worker at the Bimini International Airport. We talk about that and hear a song, All in Time, for the firing, which happened just yesterday. Yeah, it's all straight ahead this evening. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Well, residents of South Andros are planning a protest tomorrow to bring attention to the lack of banking presence in the area. In particular, South Andros residents are asking that the government considers including more banking days in South Andros. Now, joining me this evening are Tracy Knowles and Pastor Fairdale Smith of the Bluff, South Andros. Pastor Smith is also a local government representative. Good evening, gentlemen. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines.
Good evening.
Good evening, Shanique, and good evening, Bahamas.
It's good to have you both here. Let's just jump right in, gentlemen. You feel that the South communities that make up the South Andros area are underserved when it comes to banking. Please tell us exactly how that shows every day, and what is it that have you going to protest and calling all to come together in South Andros tomorrow?
Yes, absolutely. This community, we have a lot of people, and it's growing. I was born here, and I moved back to Andros 15 years ago, and we had daily banking service at one point. Then they moved it to 3 days per week, and then they moved it to 1 day, which is Wednesday. And, that is totally out of order. It's not working for us, and we want to see that change because, well, on top of just having one banking day, just recently they put in an ATM. And the ATM, you cannot make a deposit, so it's not a smart machine. So at least if you were able to make deposits at the machine, that would also help. But I think the 1 day it's totally ridiculous for a community like South Andros.
Pastor Smith, hello to you. Welcome to the show. You heard Tracy say that he moved to South Andros about 15 years ago, and there were at least 3 banking days available that residents could get more done. Or perhaps no, in fact, there were banking days the entire week, and then it dwindled to 3, and now it's dwindled to 1. What was the population like then, 15 years ago, for banking to have basically been condensed to 1 day?
Well, good night, Bahamas, good night, Shanique. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.
I never left South Andros. Pastor Knowles just came back, but from Bank of the Bahamas open in South Andros, it was an awesome help to the South Androsian, the community, from Marsby to Driggsville. But then the 3 days was not sufficient. Because when you look at the business owners here in South Andros and the community, the population, when we go there, the frustrating part is when you got to line up on the outside just to do banking. And plus, at the same time, You cannot, with the time is not sufficient because they close at 3 o'clock and what have you. You can't do a proper banking. There, even when they, even though they brought in their ATM machine, that still isn't sufficient because you have a lot of people who want to go in and do deposits. Like Mr. Knowles said, that if they had put a deposit box in the ATM, that will help and what have you, because a lot of businesses have to go in first. They allow the businesses to go in and do deposits and what have you, then they wait for the withdrawals.
Right. Now, let's just talk about, you said you never left. You never left.
No.
You never left South Andros.
Never left. No.
I still want to know, because you all are quite aware that commercial banks have pulled out on all family islands, perhaps outside of just a couple of the family islands, because it doesn't serve their purpose, the bottom line. Every business, particularly banks, are in the business of making money. And when that doesn't necessarily, as perhaps as abrupt and cold as that sounds, that just really is the truth. And that's why, Tracy, you have seen a decrease in the days in the 15 years you've lived in South Andros. I asked you about maybe population size, and could that have anything to do with it? So let's go to business, as you said. What is the demand for, let's say, if Bank of the Bahamas were to set up where they are there every day? Because I'm thinking, we always talk about how these various government-run agencies are strained on the backs of the taxpayers, because we have to end up paying for them to exist, for them to be operational. And so, what is the demand by the business community? How large is it? And residents and their banking and having to sort of have a daily movement. What does that number look like?
Let me say, first of all, I am a South Androsian. I was born here. And so I lived here until I was 16, moved to Nassau, moved back. The island of South Andros, it has worked before. There were fewer people back in the day, and there were fewer businesses. There are a lot more businesses. There's the Bonefish Lodges. There's the service stations. There's a whole lot of businesses. I think the population, Pacific, should be a little over 1,000 or.
So you're saying the population has grown, the businesses have also flourished and grown. Now, Bank of the Bahamas has had a presence in Mangrove Key and South Andros area for more than 18 years. You've seen how the banking industry has sort of shifted, and Bank of the Bahamas is a bank in it to make money. But what is it that you want? What's the message you all want to get across tonight, and obviously during that protest tomorrow?
Well, my thing is, I came from a banking background. I worked in the bank. There is no competition. What I found is wherever there is no competition, the people are taken for granted. And I think that's the bottom line here. Of course, we understand that businesses have to make a profit. Yeah, I'm in business also. But service is critical. And it appears that in many of our family of islands, service is not on top of the list for a whole lot of businesses. So I don't think it's because they don't have the amount of traffic. Let me put it like that. I don't think it's because they don't have the amount of traffic. I think they're just taking South Andros as well as some other islands for granted. Okay,
well, guess what? We just came out of an election. Today made 3 weeks. What do you have you all during the election campaign spoken with the Leon Lundy, who was successful in his bid to be re-elected? And have you all done that? Before I read, and I'll tell you, I worked on your behalf overnight, including very early this morning and later today, and I was able to reach out to him and express the concerns that you all, that was reached out to me and shared with me since last night. I will read in part what he has to say, but I just want to know, have you all sort of spoken with him during the campaign season to say, listen, Mr. Lundy, we have decided to go with you. As you were saying, you want to build and take progress further in South and Central Andros and Mangrove Key. So here's how we expect this to look. Did you do that?
Well, we've been talking for years, and we're still talking. We've been talking and really pushing and agitating for years, and we're still doing that. But it just seems to get worse, you know.
Well, let me just read this really quickly because we have to keep moving. Mr. Lundy says, in part, the concerns being raised by banking services in South Andros are legitimate, serious, and deserving of attention. Residents continue to face real challenges in accessing reliable and convenient banking services, and those challenges affect daily lives, small businesses, pensioners, working families, and the wider local economy. South Andros is not alone in this experience. Across our family islands, Bahamians now know the frustration that comes with limited access to essential financial services. In an archipelago, which is the Bahamas, convenience matters. Equity matters. Government must continue to look at practical ways to ensure that Bahamians are not disadvantaged simply because of where they live. Lundy says that he has raised this concern before on behalf of the people of South Andros. He says he remains fully engaged in doing just that. With the Post Office Department now within his portfolio, his responsibility is to help move this matter from concern to practical work. Our post offices are already established in communities throughout the Bahamas. That national presence gives us an important foundation to improve public service delivery and support greater access to essential services, particularly in the Family Islands. Gentlemen, your thoughts on the Post Office Savings Bank? Very quickly.
So, Peter, you take that.
Let me just say this, the thing about it is that we welcome the post office concern, and we've been using the post office from the inception before Bank of the Bahamas came into South Andros, and that had worked for a period of time. But right now, we deserving a more efficient banking service in South Andros. The thing about it, we had a meeting with Mr. Lundy in reference to this from the local government standpoint, and also what has happened is that Bank of the Bahamas haven't yet said to us, give us the reason why they bring us down to 1 day.
Well, again, I hope to follow this up for you, gentlemen. Again, Bank of the Bahamas has existed in the Andros area, especially the South Andros area in particular, as we're discussing this evening, for more than 18 years. Like many other banks, they perhaps too saw that financially it was not worth what involves having a daily operation in certain parts, and they've pulled back. But these residents say they want response, they want attention, and they deserve more banking days. We will continue to follow this. Thank you so much, Tracy Knowles and Pastor Fairdale Smith. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you for allowing us.
Absolutely. Of course, they will protest tomorrow in South Andros. When we get the images and perhaps hear more of what they want addressed, we certainly will stay on top of that for you. Beyond the Headlines is back right after this.
Hey, it's your boy Charlie Bahama here at Superwash, Superwash's newest spokesmodel. And I'm here to tell you about Superwash's large capacity washers and dryers for all your big loads.
I know I see that Charlie Banana coming here just now.
Uh-oh, luckily it's also big enough for me to hide it.
I thought he was right over here where these large capacity washer and dryers is. It's big enough now to handle your big loads, you know. Yeah, like your comfort on your blanket. But just look at us. Somebody forget to turn on the dryer. Oh, stop! You hear something? Yeah, that's the sound of clean. Superwash washes you, processes you, and entertains you 24/7.
A lot of people know CBS Bahamas and the CBS Pro Store thanks to our beautiful retail stores. But what you may not know is contractors love shopping here as well. Whether you need a flat rack of shingles, a truckload of drywall, or a pallet of joint compound, we can make it happen with unbeatable pricing, fast turnaround times, and excellent communication. That's why contractors love shopping with CBS Bahamas. Learn more at cbsbahamas.com.
Hi. Hello? Hey girl, I am Wendy's. I'm trying to go to Essence Fest. Wendy's and Coca-Cola want to take you and your bestie to New Orleans. July 3rd through 5th is Essence Fest, and you could be traveling VIP style.
Roxy?
Tenders?
Tenders.
All you gotta do is upgrade any premium lunch combo 1 through 12 or a salad to a large, like a spicy number 6, add cheese and bacon, or a Dave's Classic, or my personal favorite, tendies. This will now serve as your final boarding call for Flight 735, service into Essence Fest. Boarding now. Nola! We coming back?
A protest tomorrow. The reason for their protest mainly is to ask Bank of the Bahamas and the government to hear their pleas for more banking days. They say they have now one banking day in South Andros, and that's on a Wednesday, and it is not nearly sufficient. Well, we're going to jump in right there this evening and speak with the Hot Topics panel. I certainly want to hear their views on it, especially as both of them have experience in finance, work in finance, one works for the federal government even. And so certainly, of course, we look forward to hearing what their thoughts are. Good evening to you, Peggy and Howard. Welcome to the show.
Good evening, Howard. Good evening, Bahamas. Thank you for having me.
Good evening, Shanique. Good evening to you, Peggy, and good evening to the Bahamas as well.
You both, you heard the gentleman from South Andros a moment ago. You heard what their plans are to protest. They said, listen, we see the post office, we understand that, but first of all, Bank of the Bahamas needs to add more days. Then they also need competition, I guess, the return of commercial banks. Your thoughts, panel?
Good evening, Shanique. Yes, I've been in banking for over 15 years. Most of my professional training is in banking. And one of the first classes, if not the first class that I attend in my banking certificate was the first chapter, that banking is in the business of making a profit. And so if it does not fall in line with the bottom line, obviously they made an adjustment, and then the gentleman said that they would like competition, but business is about supply and demand. The demand must be there to operate a profitable business. And I'm going to go right into the business of the post office saving bank, which I understand last year I learned, or earlier this year, that the laws were amended that you can make up to $10,000 deposit. It was increased. And I think the interest rate on that deposit, I think is either 5 or 5.4. I was trying to confirm before the show, 5.4%, which is far higher than any commercial bank.
Well, it's not higher, Peggy. Commercial banks give no interest.
Well, even more so on your CDs, on annuities. If you see a Bahamas registered stock offering at 5.4, that is preferred ratings. And so what the government has done is make it very appealing for family islands to save using the post office saving bank, and is almost giving away money when you see a 5.4%. And so I understand the frustration they might be feeling, but they also have to understand the business of banking is for profit.
Yeah, Shanique, I remember in the early 2010s, when I was back home living in Eleuthera, I saw a significant drawdown in the number of banks that were present on the island there. And Bank of the Bahamas is now there in Eleuthera, but several of the other private banks would have left. And so seeing the similarities in South Andros at this time, I must say that, you feel for those residents to see those gentlemen on tonight and knowing what they're going through. You can't help but, feel for your brothers and sisters who are going through those difficulties. At the end of the day, though, from hearing what they had to say and what you presented, it appears as if with the exit of the commercial banks and then the drawdown in services and days by the Bank of the Bahamas, that tells me that these financial institutions would have conducted their feasibility studies and whatever have you, and have determined that, like Peggy said, that it is not profitable for them to continue to operate. Now, the fact that the Bank of the Bahamas is associated or affiliated with the government tells you that they have stayed and continued to suffer losses because you go from 5 to 3 to 1. That would tell Peggy and myself that they had begun operating at a loss. And to absorb some of those losses, you have to begin cutting services and you have to begin cutting days. Now, I'll say this. What you have to do, South Andros, is you have to begin to get creative. The national debt continues to balloon. If you look at the national debt 18 years ago and you look at it now, it's consistently increased. So any responsible government that wants to keep a handle on the national debt, having an agency affiliated with it, providing you with the services that you need just because you need them, and ignoring all of the other significant factors leads to an increase in the debt. Unfortunately, sometimes you can't have your cake and eat it too. But this is an opportunity for you. There's something called fintech, financial technology, that is the wave of the future. It's taking over now. These phones that we have here, you all need to begin to see how you can use the infrastructure associated with financial technology to bridge the banking gap, to bridge the gap where there's a lack of financial services, and come up with creative ways that you can start businesses where you can do banking and offer banking services on these devices that everyone has.
But Howard, the people, and you heard them, they don't really necessarily want change on that level. But
they have these. Everybody have these though.
They do.
TikTok.
Everybody has these. Everything everybody does on their phone in South Andros right now, banking is just another addition of that.
Shanique, I just want to interject here that I reached out to Minister Lundy, newly elected Member of Parliament for the area, and I'll share one of the things I asked him. I asked him about would you communicate with Commercial Bank on an updated position of the possibility of banking service in South Andros and other family islands as an act of goodwill. He said that they are, and that a full ATM is on the way, just as it was placed in the central. So they'll
be able to make deposits and
he said
like a full banking experience with these ATM.
Yeah, he said a full.
Because you heard them talk about
that.
Yes,
and then I asked him. I said, how soon will the post office saving banking offer additional banking products like loans, checking account, and check clearing? And he said, already working on it. So Mr. Lundy has not ignored the cries of his community, of his constituents, and he just was re-elected 3 weeks today.
I hope those, well, today, yes, 3 weeks. But I hope those gentlemen heard you, and I'm happy that you did reach out to Minister of Transport and Responsibility for the Post Office, among other things, Leon Lundy. I'm happy that you did that.
I did.
And you were able to share that this evening to further help, because again, they are entitled. They are businessmen. They have cash. They want to do banking. They want to be able to do what every other Bahamian does. And so I'm very happy that you did that, Peggy, and able to share that with those gentlemen and the residents of South Andros this evening here on the show. That's an excellent thing that you did. And so I hope that you all heard that and able to further perhaps sit with Minister Lundy and be able to hear more. Meanwhile, gentlemen, we heard Leon Lundy is Minister of Transport, right? So get this though, it was an entire rollout today. The Davis administration's governing blueprint is now coming into sharper focus with ministerial portfolios officially published. A clearer picture is emerging of who will be responsible for some of the government's most important priorities over the next 5 years. Among the notable assignments, Minister of State in the Office of Prime Minister Michael Bonnaby, get this you all, I was quite surprised. Now, he has oversight of the Bahamas information. Listen, he in charge of broadcasting, y'all.
Communication.
So that's BIS, that's ZNS, all of it. I think it's a fitting. Listen, we know Michael Bonnaby, right? He also is in charge of the disaster the preparedness agency. Certainly, of course, we know that as well. Parliamentary Secretary Senator Clint Watson has been handed a wide-ranging portfolio, including responsibility for the Bahamas Investment Authority, Bahamas Investment Compliance and Investment Promotion.
Yeah.
Clint, go right ahead.
Financial guru.
You all hold on, let me call Clint. We can hold on for a minute. Y'all can pause for a second because I can call Clint live. What I even need is that little thing. Anyway, so Watson will also oversee lands and surveys, land acquisitions matters, the National Economic Council, the Sustainable Development Goals. Clint, hold on, dude. Climate change initiatives. So he and Michael, it seems, kind of sharing a couple of things. And that ministry also comes under Zane Lightbond. So this is what?
Yes.
And the National Security Council Secretariat. What? At the community level, urban renewal, Minister Lisa Raming has been tasked with advancing urban development, community empowerment, and the National Small Home Repairs Program. And first-time MP Sebastian
we were waiting for this.
Has been entrusted with the newly created Ministry of Innovation and National Development, a ministry that is expected to help drive the government's technology, modernization, and economic development agenda. A number, now listen you all, I'll tell you about this appointment that merchants of downtown are applauding and very happy about, and that is the appointment of as Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism of Randy Roll, the Member of Parliament for Bimini and Berry Islands, and his return to tourism. You all know he made quite an impression when he was there before in tourism in the last term, cleaning up Bay Street, demolishing a number of derelict buildings that have been there for decades, quite an eyesore. I imagine this renaissance of downtown will perhaps begin to really will continue and take shape as he is now Parliamentary Secretary Peggy and Howard.
Yeah, you know, Shanique, I was thinking over the past few days about the emergence of leadership, the new generation of leadership that I've seen take place in these appointments. I've seen, for instance, the minister responsible, PS, for immigration. I see like a transition, almost like a training session, him being underneath Minister of Foreign Affairs, and you see a few of them, and it's like really the changing of the guard is taking place within the PLP, and the younger politicians, even new ones, are given the opportunity to train under the senior ones. And so the transition, the continuance of progress is a real thing when you look at these appointments. Even the assignment, let's take, for instance, Minister Leslie Bryce, Miller Bryce, just matching her personality and her experience and her love for culture and this country, matching all those characteristics with a portfolio, even putting the straw market underneath Leslie Bryce Miller. And so I think it shows a continuation of genius when it comes to what this administration plans to do and continuing the progress in this country.
Yeah, Shanique, I think from Mr. Pindling up to now, successive governments of the Bahamas have done a great job of the matching that Peggy is talking about, of putting qualified and competent people in these cabinet portfolios for them to do the work of the government. I've seen it over the years. There's been some surprises, there's been some head-scratching stuff, but successive governments, for the most part, in my opinion, as a student of political history and politics, I think that governments have done an excellent job, and Mr. Davis is no exception at this time. I think Leslie Miller Bryce, and I'm so glad Peggy brought it up. I love that Ministry of Culture for her, and I love that it's the Ministry of Culture because My last job in the Bahamas before I moved to the United States, I was a trainee youth officer in the Ministry of Youth, Sports, and Culture. A lot of people don't know that. And I was always upset. Listen, I loved working in the Ministry of Youth. I was a young person at the time, a younger person. And I always was incensed, though, that you had culture attached to youth and sports. And my problem
got
was
overshadowed every time, huh?
culture and heritage is who we all are.
Yes.
We live and breathe that every day. You're only a youth for a certain amount of years. And all of the sports, well, most of the sports that we would play in the Bahamas, some of them are international sports, right? But culture is timeless, and culture is for everybody. So I believe that should have been, as an unapologetic Pan-Africanist, I believe that culture needed to be its own ministry.
I love that.
Its own ministry. And to have someone like Leslie Bryce, who is steeped in culture, who I believe has been in beauty pageants and is so passionate about all these other aspects of culture and stuff. Yes, and so I think that was a great appointment. Now, I'll tell you one thing, I only get praise, I get some criticism too. Mikhail Barnaby was one I was watching, and I was very impressed with him during his tenure as a member of parliament for Mount Moriah. I know so many people who live there, and they were impressed with him. I've been impressed with him, but I was very, very, very disappointed in how he ended his tenure in Beaches and Parks. And it's so interesting that he is in charge of communication and disaster management. So I'm here to say, Mr. Barnaby, you need to restore my faith and confidence in you, because those last few weeks before the election, as questions were asked about Beaches and Parks, the communication was not good, and I think it was a bit of a disaster. So please bring me back, because I have so much faith and confidence in you.
Howard, the play on words cannot be missed. But I'll tell you this, Mikhail Barnaby. Listen, the way you figure you show up, Mikhail Howard, he was considered by my fashion expert, Latoya Moxie, as one of the hits at the opening of Parliament. So Mikhail, the way you step up in that suit, we trying to say step up as bold as that in your communication of the people. You all remember to the people rather, and remember last evening, Michael Alkidis, Minister of Finance, says that there is an audit now underway for Beaches and Park for its for 10 years old, this agency, and so the audit is underway for the first time since it was formed.
Because the young leader, sorry to cut you off, the young leader Jamal Strawn, MP, Member of Parliament for Nassau Village, is now responsible for Beaches and Park, and we would like for him to have a clean slate. On my page, I caution him that we are watching you because of the history with this particular section of government, and so he promised transparency, clear communication, and we're holding it to you. So I am following closely, and we expect great things from you, sir.
I am happy that we have people who are watching and participating. They said that the post office fee is a flat 5%. Listen, Howard, what is the interest rates on your savings, your special savings sort of accounts type thing? Is it near 5%?
So on the checking accounts, it's a paltry 0.01% here. And on the savings accounts, it's a 0.03%. Now, when you start looking at some of the investment businesses, what they call the brokers, like your Charles Schwab's and your Fidelity's, they offer money market accounts called cash management accounts that operate just like regular checking and savings accounts. They have anywhere right now from 2.5 to 5%.
So we are good.
Interest on your money sitting there.
The post office saving is top notch.
Howard, interest rates on savings accounts, such as human checking and all the rest of it.
Regular banks like Bank of America.
0.0000000.0
Absolutely.
In the Bahamas. And so again, by the way, I'll tell you this. Tracy Knowles is watching, and he says they are watching much, so they appreciated that information that was shared.
Welcome.
Yes, Tracy, we will continue to monitor this for sure. That is certain. Meanwhile, though, speaking of all of this accounts and the rest of it, let's talk about pensions, shall we? A clause in the government's new proposed contributory pension plan already being met with objection from the Bahamas Public Services Union. The new plan proposes that public servants will continue or contribute 3% to their pensions, and the government, the employer, will contribute 5% of the employee's salary monthly. The existing pension does not require any contributions from the employee. Now, some existing public servants will be able to make a decision regarding whether they would like to join the new plan. But there is a clause that mandates public servants with less than 8 years on the job, it's mandatory for them to transfer to the new pension plan. President of BPSU, Kingsley Ferguson, is making it quite clear that he is not in favor of the new mandate.
When they initially were employed, they were part of persons who were permanent and pensionable and whose pension was provided for by the government. And so in my view, that particular aspect of this proposed thing should be moved, and you can't just make another law that impacts statute law, where the statute law speaks to a person that's appointed and confirmed as permanent and pensionable, who is entitled to receive a pension from the government. Now, if you want to do this moving forward, that's fine. But you don't wait until somebody has 7 years and divest them of their entitlement. It is, in my view, I think a contributory pension plan is really something that we want to embrace. It sort of brings relief to the public purse to some extent. And what it does, it allows the worker to determine, what sizable pension that they would have, moving forward or when they retire. But there are some issues and concerns that we do have concerning that. We don't think that the information that was provided was sufficient. There are different stages of a paper prior to it getting to be laid on the table. So normally the green paper is the consultative part of it, where the various stakeholders, can really contribute to it.
There's that, but I told you all, Peggy, did I not call Clint Watson a moment ago? Y'all think it's
you want to meet, please, Mr. Investor?
Yeah, absolutely. So Howard, I did speak with Clint during that SOT, but listen, let's get to this. Your thoughts on Ferguson say, listen, we don't necessarily object to government and civil servants paying a portion of the pension plan, but he seems to say it has to be worked out in a more smoother way so that it eases in better. Your thoughts?
Mr. Ferguson and many other union leaders have been making great demand on the government, and everything is in dollars. I think pension plans are very expensive for any company. When I was at Central Bank, they were having the same discussion on a contributory pension plan. It makes it more affordable for the employer and also makes it more accountable for the employee. You're gonna have your pension, but now you have to be contributing a little to it for your benefit. And so we ask the government to pay for this, pay for that, and give us more. And now you have a responsibility to your future. Mr. Kingsley, of course, will disagree, but Mr. Kingsley, you had some members trying to find you the other day. Where you is?
Howard, thoughts?
Yeah. So Shanique, it's so interesting that, and let me say from the onset, Mr. Ferguson makes some fair and reasonable arguments relative to persons who duly owed their pensions and you starting with a new group of people and not grandfathering in persons who have already earned their full pensions under a defined benefit plan, transferring them into the defined contribution plan. So that's a fair argument. However, these things have to exist in the reality of what the government can afford, right? When you look at the United States, here in the United States, let me drop some names for you. United Airlines, US Airways, General Motors, and General Electric. General Electric in particular, these are companies, private companies in the United States, right? That have had financial distress. Some have been in bankruptcy and also near bankruptcy. because of pensions in the billions and billions of dollars for their employees. Now, and I'm talking about totally defined benefit plans, which means you have a full pension that is controlled by and financed by the employer. No contribution from the employee. Those kinds of pension plans are being phased out now in the United States. They almost do not exist.
Yeah, and you see the legitimacy, Howard, to have this sort of newly formed, this newly structured pension plan introduced into the public service. We see that, Howard. But I want to stop you, please. We got to get to this point. We got to get right here because we do have another segment after this. So let's run quick.
Okay.
Tonight, a termination and public outcry, a growing debate over what really happened at Bimini Airport. A former security officer says she is in fact, the first victim, but no others. She's the latest. She's the first political victim to be victimized by the PLP. We get the story from Jose Etienne.
The dismissal of an airport security officer who lost her job after an incident involving Prime Minister Philip Davis during a pre-election stop in Bimini appears to have been justified. That's the view of union leader Latonya Simonet, who is now speaking out, as former security officer Carlisha Bain maintains she was the target of political victimization following the PLP's re-election.
And they said that it was a situation whereas there was some rudeness towards the team that came with the Prime Minister.
Simonet's comments come after a lengthy social media post by Bain that gained significant attention online. In the post titled Victim Number 1 by the PLP, Bain insisted she was not rude, confrontational, or attempting to create a scene. Instead, she said she was simply carrying out her duties as a trained Grade 2 security officer. Bain questioned whether doing her job should have resulted in losing it. However, her account of events is being challenged by individuals who claim to have witnessed the incident, as well as sources close to the Prime Minister who spoke with Eyewitness News about what happened.
One of the entourage, she was rather having a conversation, I think, with one of the persons who were on duty there with her, and she said something along the lines of, "I don't care." And one of the delegates, whoever it was, who was with the Prime Minister, and somebody here, you say something that he probably said back to, like, why wouldn't you care about something? She said, and she wasn't talking to him.
At the center of the debate is Bain's claim that her termination was politically motivated. The former Airport Authority employee pointed to what she described as growing political victimization following the general election. Simonet rejects that narrative.
I don't think politics had something to do with it, because I've had instances where one or two of my members was dismissed from the Airport Authority based on, their conduct, the way how they behave in the airport, even towards guests.
While seemingly supporting the decision to terminate Bain's employment, Simonet says the former officer still retains certain employment rights and entitlements despite her dismissal.
The Airport Authority will pay her out her package. The amount of years that she would have given to the organization will call for 2 weeks' pay for each year that she would have given service to the organization, and any other financial payout that Airport Authority would have for her.
Jose Etienne, Eyewitness News.
So you crying saying you get fired. Meanwhile, you try to bully the PM and other officials in Bimini. Who are you, ba? No man, you can't do that. That's the PM. You gotta respect the office. That's the PM them. I found out they fired you. Yeah, she got laid off. Because you dissed the PM, and that wasn't cute. Thought you paid the cost for you to be
Solo. When I say you always come through, I don't even need to say one word, not one word, because mom. Well, first of all, a couple questions before I let you all weigh in very quickly. Where was the supervisor? Where was the airport manager? Why was this lady, this Grade 2 security officer allowed to operate on her own? But you say she knew no better? I mean, in every country, even elected officials are afforded certain, courtesies. You trying to say a whole prime minister, you telling him take his shoes off? and put it on the belt. That's what she said. She said, take your shoe off and put it on the belt. I
don't care.
Who's brave? What that is? Y'all quickly jump in.
Fresh and furious. That's what she was. Fresh and furious. If anybody was political, it was her. Your co-worker explained what you said behind the scene. You don't care what it is. You're too fresh. That's what you get.
Yeah, conduct yourself with decorum. And even if it wasn't politics, there's so many different things. Take your pick of why she should be terminated. Unprofessional, disrespectful, and all of these other things. You cannot conduct yourself like Craig and Day, top flight security of the world, and Friday after next. You have to conduct yourself like a professional with everyone, and especially with the Prime Minister and other VIPs. So, young lady, I am sad for this situation, but this has to be a lesson for you. You cannot conduct yourself in this manner and believe that you are going to continue to be employed.
So Shanique, I just want to take a second and say, Ilutra, look at us, Miller, Scavala, Johnson. We here, we represent.
A whole Ilutra panel. Oh, wow. You know, Peggy, I like my panel. I tell you, they smart. They be thinking.
And be smart from
Ilutra.
They
be smart.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Listen, I thank you all so much. Yes. I thank you all so much. Peggy, Howard, excellent job this evening. I wish I could play that song again. But listen, no. We are talking serious business after the break. The 2026 hurricane season. Wayne Neely joins me after this.
Wealth should not only belong to a select few. At Investar, we believe the door should be open to everyone. We provide options for planning a better future. Our investment funds are designed to assist you in reaching your long-term financial goals. Let us show you how.
Welcome to Paradise Premium Foods, where exceptional taste meets everyday convenience. Right in the heart of Hurricane Hole Plaza, whether you're planning a beachside brunch, an intimate dinner, or simply restocking your favorites, we offer only the finest selection of local and imported goods, handpicked for quality, freshness, and flavor. At Paradise Premium Foods, shopping is effortless, service is personal, and every visit feels like a treat. From gourmet meals to go to organic essentials and indulgent treats, this is your neighborhood market elevated. Live well, eat better. Discover Paradise Premium Foods, now open at Hurricane Hole Plaza, Paradise Island. Paradise Premium Foods, taste the difference.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. We're going to jump right into this segment. The 2026 hurricane season is now one day in. The season officially began yesterday, June 1st, and it goes through November 30th. Of course, everybody watches, but I think the good news this year is that the hurricane officials and weather officials are predicting a below normal season. And so we're happy to hear that. But meteorologists like Wayne Neely are very quick to point out, do not let your guard down. That is no invitation to say, hey, oh, we're good. Wayne, good evening to you. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. It's great to have you here.
Good evening. It's good to be back, Shanique. And good evening, Bahamas.
Yes. Wayne, what is responsible for this lower than normal prediction?
This year is going something that we rarely get in meteorology, something called a super El Nino. And that basically means that temperatures about 2 degrees warmer than the average normal El Nino pattern, weather pattern. So this year we're getting a very intense El Nino, which means that what that does to the hurricanes in the North Atlantic, that inhibits the growth of the development of these storms. And you tend to get, with El Nino, you tend to get stronger winds in the atmosphere, which inhibits growth. And it knocks the tops of the thunderstorms, preventing them from going further on into a depression or a tropical storm.
We are so happy. I mean, we breathed a sigh of relief hearing that. We prayed. We are grateful. This is really excellent news.
Yes.
However, with full stop.
I didn't put
right?
There's a but. There was not a full stop.
So full stop. We're happy. We're grateful.
Yeah,
That's non-negotiable. But you were saying Bahamians should not see this as a reason to say, oh, we don't need to pay attention this hurricane season.
No, because you just need one storm. You just need one hurricane to
and that
a
can
major
be
storm.
Yeah, it can be a depression, a tropical storm.
Yes, in fact, during Hurricane Andrew, that was a below average season. They only had 7 named storms, 4 hurricanes, and 1 major, which was Hurricane Andrew. And Andrews became one of the most devastating hurricanes to impact the Bahamas. And that doesn't mean that you're going to, and the problem is, you have El Nino conditions there, but you also have the record warm. Sea surface temperature right now is 2.5 degrees Celsius above normal. So what I'm, as a scientist, what I'm interested in seeing what impact the climate change and the warmer sea surface temperatures will play with regards to the season. So that still means that you still have to be on guard and not let your guards down. So you should prepare like as if it's a busy season. It's a busy season.
Yeah. What areas of the Bahamas are particularly more vulnerable during hurricane season?
Unfortunately, all the Bahamas is because most of the average height above sea level for most of the islands is 23 feet, and that's regular category 4 hurricane is between 20 to 25 feet storm surge. So that's not. Most of the islands are coastal, so you have a great impact from those storms with strong category 3 or category 4 storm.
Now let's look at preparedness and public safety, which is
Yes.
huge and key in the Bahamas and for all Bahamians wherever we are. What are 3 things each household needs?
Water, food supplies, adequate supply of food supplies from the food store, and also one thing that people don't do, medication and hurricane insurance. And that's you look at me, but
I did a double take.
Yeah, hurricane insurance. That's one thing most people seem to get. Unfortunately,
yeah.
you won't realize the importance of that until you travel on the island after the hurricane passes.
Yes, absolutely. How important is an evacuation plan for each
household? Yes, evacuation, that's very important because those who plan fare better in a hurricane than those who don't. And you must develop an evacuation plan. And if you have to travel, if you have to move out of the house for emergency, let's say a roof blow off your house, you should have an evacuation plan, where to go, what to take with you, and all those things as well.
Now look in this camera right there and speak to the Bahamian people about, sort of sum up what you have just said and how they should react.
Well, this year we every year you prepare a hurricane season. Every year like it's above year's hurricane season, and the possibility of being impacted by a major storm. So never let your guards down. This is not time, and you should start your preparations now. You have any trees that need to be cut down, now's the ideal time. Any windows or doors that need repair, any roof that needs to repair, now's the ideal time before the peak of the hurricane season, which starts in August.
August, September.
Yeah, get those things done before that.
Well, of course, we are always in touch, and so that we will continue to be in touch, and to be able to educate each person, the viewers out there, as we continue to go through this hurricane season, and hopefully no storms. But again, that is not an invitation to sit and twiddle your thumbs and ignore everything around you. All of what Wayne says is hugely important, and so certainly do those things. Wayne Neely, meteorologist, and author of how many books now? 18 books, interviewed by National Geographic and so many others on our weather patterns, the storms, and so much here in the Bahamas and the region. A voice really that is highly regarded in the weather space. Thank you very much for being here this evening.
My pleasure.
Absolutely. And of course, thanks to, at the top of tonight's show, we saw the residents from Andros, Tracy Knowles and Pastor Smith. Thank you very much for being here. Of course, at the middle of the show, Peggy Candace and Howard Johnson, thank you both as well. And meteorologist Wayne Neely, thank you once again for being here this evening. A huge thank you to all of you for tuning in. I thank you so much for watching and for participating. It's always good to have that. I look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening for another Beyond the Headlines. Until then, for the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everybody.